thinking I was never into gin because I didn't like the whole like whatever it's made of, the pine stuff.
I thought of going for a soju for my drink choice, but I thought, you know, I'm gonna be on camera, and when I drink soju, it's just like, it's different. That's dangerous. I can't be gambling. Zach Yandel said, Phil, have you ever seen those one-room apartments? If you have, any wild stories about small apartments? Do you have any wild stories about small apartments, Phil?
No.
Have you lived in a studio?
I mean, I like my apartment here down here is like there's one bedroom and then there's like one living room and kitchen.
But a
and bathroom.
studio.
No.
I wouldn't want to do that, and I'm pretty small as it is. Okay, we're gonna jump back into SNL because I wasn't done there. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds made a new red carpet debut at SNL 50 in the midst of their legal battle against Justin Baldoni and also their PR downfall. I guess that their PR teams thought this was a chance for them to rehabilitate their image in some way. It accomplished the polar opposite of that objective in reality. Ryan Reynolds chose to participate in one of the jokes that they aired. He stood up in the middle of the crowd and they asked him, Ryan, how's it going? And he let's play this for everyone.
Oh, hey, Ryan Reynolds. Hey. Ryan Reynolds, how's it going?
Great. Why? What have you heard?
Yeah.
I have a question.
And you can also see
Ryan Reynolds.
Blake Lively's in the corner there staring at him, pretending to be shocked and afraid. And now Hollywood insiders feel that Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds' attendance at SNL 50 was not a good look, and they believe the couple should have sat this one out. The reality is this is just not a smart decision for them. Their legal team should have advised them that this was not a good look for them when it comes to their trial. Because one of the allegations that Blake Lively has made against Justin Baldoni is that he has wreaked havoc on her emotionally. One of the allegations is prolonged and serious emotional distress to the point where she can barely function, let alone get glammed up for a night out on the town in front of the cameras. So, she's casting doubt on the very claims that she is making in her lawsuit against Justin Baldoni for workplace harassment and sexual harassment. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds celebs gossip about the couple amid Justin Baldoni drama. Sources with direct knowledge tell TMZ lots of stars who attended the SNL events on Sunday night were confused as to why Blake and Ryan appeared at the show while they battle it out in court with Justin Baldoni over the drama surrounding It Ends With Us. And one source who was at 30 Rock for the taping says Blake and Ryan were the talk of the entire evening and many people avoided them. Another source who attended following the show was overheard saying, "Who told them to come?" And that's what I'm wondering, because it's not just, you know, we hate Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds and we don't want to see them anymore. It's like anyone who cares about you and your standing in your career and in your lawsuit would tell you that this is a bad idea. You're not gaining any favor with the public at large by doing this, because you're hanging out with all of these stars who you claim you were alienated from based on your treatment during the filming of this movie. But, you know, you're also making a huge joke of the entire thing alongside your husband, who, you know, I would assume that any woman's husband who knew that she had been terribly mistreated by her coworker/boss in any workplace situation, that if he knew that she had been sexually harassed and objectified and that there was an entire PR campaign coordinated against her to destroy her life, he would not think it's a laughing matter. And he would not participate in a massive scripted joke about the incident on live television in front of millions of people. I don't think that their emotional argument is compelling because of their own behavior, and it continues to be. One person pointed out, imagine claiming you're traumatized amid a mega lawsuit and then getting in full glam for a photo op for SNL. Another one said Blake Lively has a claim of intentional infliction of emotional distress against Justin Baldoni. This means she's saying she has long-term, extreme emotional distress over the events that occurred between them. Did no one tell Ryan Reynolds that making a joke referencing the litigation and all underlying events brings a legitimate question as to whether they are truly distressed by it? Yes, humor can be a way to deal with stress, anxiety, etc. And I'm not saying this kills their claim, but why risk it to play with that fire? If she was so destroyed by the alleged online smear campaign against her, how were they not only invited to this event, but picked up to have a feature in it, even if it's a small one? It calls into question her allegations that she was actually harmed professionally. So many of their decisions baffle me. Yeah, I mean, she's clearly still, alongside Ryan Reynolds, loved unanimously by their colleagues and equals in this industry. I know Justin Baldoni was not invited, and he was not invited to be part of any sketch related to this litigation, and he wouldn't think that it's funny anyway, so he wouldn't show up if invited. But she's out here smiling like nothing is going wrong, pretending everything is fine, and it calls into question, like, do they really understand the gravity of this situation? This is like $400 million we're talking about. That's more than, I think, both of their net worths.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it wasn't a good, actually, it clearly wasn't a good idea considering how engrossed people are with these types of stories nowadays. And I feel like just looking at the Amber Heard, Johnny Depp situation kind of should have told you it's best to keep your head down.
Yeah.
Because anytime, like, the internet was sleuthing on that like mad, and they've been sleuthing on this situation as well. So it's like, look, anytime you put your face out in public, the internet there's gonna be people that have things to say about it. And considering it doesn't take it doesn't take a lot of people that strongly disapprove of you and your behavior to make it seem like there's way more than a lot of people that strongly disapprove, right? Like, you get 1,000 people on X complaining about Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, and it seems like everyone on X hates Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. You know what I mean? If you, again, 1,000 people, which in the grand scheme of things is nothing, but it would seem like that's, it is a ubiquitous opinion. So it probably was a bad idea. I don't know why they did, why they decided to do this. I don't know why, decided to have them. It just seems like stupidity, or maybe it's hubris. Maybe they kind of felt like, oh, people just love us, and et cetera, and underestimated, again, the fact that even if they're right, that most people do really love them and don't care about this particular thing, all it takes is a handful of dedicated, really upset people to make it seem like everybody hates you.
We have a 20 from Fred Swexican 74. Mary, you are awesome. Thanks for coming in when still not 100%. Your 50% is 100% to most, so don't ever worry. Thanks, and look forward to covering Blake's addendum whenever that happens. Sure to stir things up. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. I have been ruminating on this lawsuit more and more, and I'm starting to think that the Johnny Depp Amber Heard lawsuit really primed people for a situation like this. Even if this sentiment among normies isn't like anyone even cares, let alone they hate Blake Lively or Ryan Reynolds, online you see a concentration of people who do care about it, know every detail, and they have chosen who is the villain in this story. And it's them. And I just think I can't really feel bad for either side. I've noticed a lot of people are kind of villainizing Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, and they are lionizing Justin Baldoni. But having watched through and covered the Johnny Depp Amber Heard situation back when that was going down, I realized I didn't take either side in that either. I didn't particularly, I'm not some kind of Johnny Depp stan. I wasn't like emotionally invested in that. And it was also harder to make jokes about it because the nature of the allegations was so much more grave, involving domestic violence and sexual assault rather than workplace hostility. And I feel like it's such a mythological tale. Like, it's like the downfall of Ryan Reynolds for being the wife guy who is just gonna back up his wife's bullshit on every occasion, no matter how insane it is. And he's going to stake his entire career on her bullshit at this point. But it's also the downfall of a male feminist in Hollywood, which is Justin Baldoni. And I can't help but feel
Baldoni's
that
a male
he
feminist?
very vocally and strongly a male feminist. A dyed-in-the-wool male feminist.
So for a while, I was like, well, maybe it's not good that, that Ryan Reynolds and his wife were kind of picking on this dude. But now I think they didn't do it enough.
Yeah, I mean, he's gratuitously vocal about his feminist stances, and he has a podcast about undefining masculinity.
Oh God, I didn't know about this.
He has a book, and it's his whole brand. It's his whole brand.
Blake Lively didn't do enough. They should have bullied him more. No matter what they did, they didn't do enough because he shows his face in public. F that guy. So,
I can't sympathize.
No.
I really can't. You're asking for it at that point. And that's the entire reason why he, took the IP to direct this movie, because it was his activist movie. It's it's about advocating for women. And that's his entire brand.
Good
so
grief.
I see that it's only his just desserts to face the consequences of, really standing by your feminist ideology, right? Like, this is actually the martyr death of a male feminist who truly believes in what he's saying. Because most of them don't, right? Most of the male feminists, they don't really believe what they're saying.
No, they're just trying to get laid.
They're hoping to get laid, and they're paying lip service to something they don't really understand. Justin Baldoni, on the other hand, seems like a true believer through and through when he talks about this stuff. And I somehow respect that even less than the men who are pretending to be feminists for sex. It's like even worse than that. And now I feel perhaps it's poetic justice that this all happened. However, he is going to come out on top. I'm confident in that. And he does have the facts on his side. But maybe he doesn't deserve to have this groundswell of support from people who largely find his ideological stances repugnant, including myself. Like, most of his support online, as it's been pointed out, it's from right-wing people who generally are not sympathetic to Me Too claims. And
Baldoni's?
His
support is from right-wing people?
He's getting most of his support from people who ostensibly align themselves with the right, because they're the only people who have known for years that Me Too is something that is deserving of your skepticism at the very least.
Okay, but wait a minute. Blake Lively's not making a Me Too claim, is she?
It is a Me Too claim if it involves sexual harassment, and it's also a Mean Too claim because she's like, he was a big meanie jerk face to me. So he was creating a hostile work environment. And technically, on paper, he was her boss, despite the fact that she had way more power in this situation. Being as famous as she is, and him being basically a breakout star with this movie. Justin Baldoni must feel uncomfortable with the fact that a bunch of anti-feminist right-wingers are the ones who are coming out to defend him online. But hopefully that can be a moment of growth and a humbling experience for him if this all turns out right. I can't imagine that wouldn't cause you to question your core values at that point. Like, question the fact that you've been a feminist your entire adult and public life.
How embarrassing.
I would certainly hope so. And I did actually, while I was out of town, finally get around to watching It Ends With Us. I didn't think I ever would, but I love watching movies on planes because I don't have to pay for it, and it's just a way. It's just a way to, spend the time in a way that it's technically productive because I can use it for content.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did watch It Ends With Us on the plane.
That's what I tell my girlfriend when I'm tweeting. When I'm laying in bed at like midnight,
It's
1
work.
o'clock, and I'm on Twitter. She's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like,
It's overtime.
I'm literally working.
The
I'm
ad
at work.
revenue.
Yeah.
You know, it adds up.
Like
babe.
legit. Like
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
all right. Pays for my new car.
So I was working on the plane, and you know, I really tried to judge this movie on its own merits instead of letting myself like think about the lawsuit. And it was just not good. I'm sorry. The movie was just not good. I got most of the way through it and I was like, wait, Justin Baldoni's character isn't even abusing her. Like, when does that start? Is that crazy of me to say? I was watching through, and I guess they're supposed to make you question yourself in the audience as, you know, am I misinterpreting that interaction? Did I make excuses for his behavior? So that's, you know, the artful way that they decided to write it. But there was another character that people don't know about who plays Blake Lively's character's high school boyfriend. They actually do cut like flashback scenes to when Blake Lively's character was in high school and she was dating this guy who was totally perfect for her. He had a heart of gold, but he was homeless. I'm not kidding. He was homeless. She gets with a homeless guy in high school, and he's so sweet to her. He's the perfect guy. And her dad, who is a psychopath, one day discovers that she has been harboring him in her bedroom and beats him up, and he gets carted away in an ambulance. They go no contact eventually. They grow apart. And then she finds him again in their hometown of Boston, and he's a successful restaurateur. And, you know, she's on a date with her new abusive husband at this restaurant, and they come across each other, and he sees that, you know, this guy is toxic, and then they get into a fight. And long story short, she stays with the abusive guy. She ends up getting pregnant with his kid.
Of course she does.
And as soon as she finds out she's pregnant, they are separated. But she gives birth in the movie, and then as soon as she hands over the baby for Justin Baldoni's character to hold the baby for the first time, she says, "I want a divorce." That's when she finally makes the decision to cut him off. And you know, she tells him, like, well, what would you tell our daughter if she was with a guy like you? You would tell her to leave him and never speak to him again, so you can't blame me. And then I guess the epilogue to all of this is that she walks into a farmer's market and crosses paths with this high school boyfriend again, and she's like, "Are you single? Are you seeing anybody?" And then they end up together.
Wow.
She has the abuser's child, and then her high school ex-boyfriend adopts her child.
I love what it's like telling young girls they can do. It's like, oh, you can just totally ruin your life and have like a homeless guy live inside your house, and it's all good. Don't worry about it. Nothing's gonna happen to you. Just make sure that you run into him at the right time later on in your life, when it's convenient for you, and then you decide, hey, actually, now remember how I didn't give you a chance? It just screams. What's the movie? Forrest Gump. It just screams Forrest Gump and Jenny vibes, where she just shows up. Hey, you know, I have like one of the worst communicable diseases like any human can get, and yet, you know, hey, what's up? Marry me now. That's convenient for me.
And then he's all for it in the movie. The guy
unfortunately.
finds her again, and he just falls in love with her all over again.
Was he a special needs man like Forrest was?
No, he had his
At
wits
least-
about him.
At least Forrest had an excuse, you know.
Yeah, it's for that.
So I mean, he's the good guy in the movie.
And he's not even homeless.
No,
Forrest Gump's not even homeless.
loaded.
Like, this guy is a loser. Like, why is she? Oh my god.
Well, he ends up
Getting
being
knocked up with him.
successful, and she finds him again as soon as he's successful in his own
the
right
odds
in the
on
movie.
that are just not making sense for me.
But the actor who played the good guy in the movie has been asked for his take on the lawsuit. Thank you. Dance break, real quick. So
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.